Good afternoon, everyone. I'm known for speaking fast, and with 45 minutes and this much, I'll say thank you very much, and we're done. This web page is live right now for those of you who have a device that can get to it, and it will be up there for the next couple of months. I'll read it out loud for the video, bit.ly/Gary, uppercase CIL, and then 2019. I can talk fast, but I'm not going to speak as fast enough to go through each one of these. I'm going to pick and choose, and we will talk about those, and you can explore others at your leisure and share this webpage. Thank you, Mary D., for mentioning infoDOCKET. It's been a very busy morning on my site. infoDOCKET rounds up library and related news, industry-related news, everything from, and a lot of privacy, which is also of particular interest today, of mine. Today, the FTC ordered, they want to get privacy practice information of 7 of the largest broadband providers. The European Parliament voted in favor of Article 13, which apparently a lot of people have a lot of, not apparently, a lot of people in our world have a lot of problems with. And in a post like this, not only will I post the news for you, but I will do roundups. So here are statements from the Association of European Research Libraries, from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, so on and so forth, and also primary sources, which includes everything from the official news release to video. Another thing that I do on infoDOCKET, and I'm hoping that I can get more people interested in doing this, is I round up, let me make this a little bit larger, I round up new full-text primary documents, reports, data-rich resources, kind of in a, as I said yesterday, in a Mars-level view of a selection of full-text documents available on the open web for people like you and others to do collection development with, to just send out to a colleague who might find this useful. A lot of these have a lot of visuals, charts, graphs, along with a narrative from a wide variety of what we would call credible sources, whether they be government or well-known information providers. So those are 2 things that I do on infoDOCKET. As Mary D. said, the entire thing is free. So let's get to some resources and some news. One thing that I want to make note of to all of you is that for as long as Mary D. and I talked about this yesterday from one side of the room to the other, for as long as Mary D. and I can remember, which is basically Google day 1, Google would serve up to 1,000 results. Now, not very few people would go that far, but that was what it was based off of. In the last couple of weeks, I have noticed that Google has cut back by 2/3, approximately, give or take, the total number of results that they will show. So right now, if you go and run a Google search, for those of you who are online, please let me know if you find something different. But if you go through each of the results and you go all the way to the end, it now stops somewhere between 300 and 400. This is even more noticeable when you go to Google News Search, and it now also cuts off at between 300 and 400. So if nothing else, why are they doing it, by the way, is very likely there are a lot of people who are scraping results, who want to download bulk, huge amounts of results. Even with Google's vast resources, it's not worth the finances of running that many computer cycles. And since very few people go that far, they've cut it off. But that doesn't mean that some of those results at the end are valuable, especially for the types of research we're doing. That's another reason, though, why teaching people how to do more robust advanced searches with Google is a good idea, because everything can't be in the first 300 or 400, let alone the first 5 or 6. Most people to this day who are not in our community still have little to no idea, I have found, of how to take Google to the next level. And with a very short amount of time, the types of knowledge that you have and you can share with others, you can make them much more precise Google searches and come back with much better results. I want to share with you an add-on. Another topic I did a pre-conference on yesterday is artificial intelligence, which, you know, in 2 hours and 30 minutes you could do that's a tiny chunk. Artificial intelligence, and just a small portion of it could be an entire PhD dissertation, let alone 2 hours and 45 minutes. One area, though, that we do see AI being used quite a bit is the automation of tagging of visual images, whether that be on Facebook or whether that's being used with facial recognition technology if you're going in front of a live camera. There's a little add-on that you can put on, but just available for Firefox. So let me switch browsers here. There's a little add-on which is linked. Everything I'm talking about today is linked. So let me open up Firefox here. And as you can see here, I don't know this particular person named Jim Smith. I just picked a random name. But with the little add-on here that's put into the browser, which download for free, it allows you to see the tags that Facebook's AI technology is assigning to the photos. You get that? This used to be available for both Firefox and Chrome, but right now it's only available for Firefox. As you can see, it says one person. It identified one person in the photo. You can't see it here because it's blocking it, but it identified one person. The person is smiling, the person is a child, and the person is indoors. All of these tags are using with Facebook Vision, their artificial intelligence technology. So this is very useful if you're trying to do a session on AI and how it's being used with Facebook, which is a platform a lot of people use, and they can see that these tags are being assigned by the Facebook, by this Facebook technology. Let me go back to my browser here. I'm going to see if I can do this real quick. As I said earlier, digital privacy is something that's of, I think, great importance to not only myself, but I think to this entire community. A solid understanding of digital privacy makes you even more valuable in your organization, I think. This is a topic that people are talking about and people want to know more about. So let me unplug this very quickly, and we'll see if this works. So there is an app called AdGuard. It's available for Chrome and for Firefox. And now let's see if this works here. And it's not me, it's not the app, it's the projector. But what AdGuard allows you to do is, well, one, you can block some of these tracking scripts that are embedded into a page. But even if you don't do that, it allows you to identify what they are as you browse through different apps and through different websites. It allows you to learn the names of the companies and do your research on your own to find out what they're doing when you open an app. How are they tracking you? What type of technology is being used? AdGuard for iOS and for Android allows you to actually learn the names of the companies, the providers, and then go out on your own and determine what they're doing with it. You can also set it up to block things automatically, or you can go in and add to those blockings by saying, I don't want something in red, which I highlighted, which is you see here in red. I don't want one signal to get my data. I don't want Sharpie to get my data. And I can tell you a couple of things. One, we don't know, a lot of these companies the average person doesn't know about. These companies often come and go. They're unknown, unless you had this app, it would be very hard to determine what's going on. So this is a way not only for you to make your own decision about blocking or not blocking a tracker, but allows you to learn more and identify in a real-world situation how you're being tracked on the internet. So this is an app called AdGuard, and I highly recommend it both for practical purposes, but also as a learning tool. Now let me plug this back in, and we'll go on. Document Cloud is an incredible resource which is used quite a bit by the journalism community. This is a great place to find primary documents that are in the news, often even before they're reported on. So because I'm trying to show you right now, it's not, oh, there we go. So you can find court documents without having to go to Pacer to find them. You can find other reports similar to the types of things I might share on infoDOCKET. This entire database of all these primary documents which are submitted by people, again, let me make this larger, whether it be somebody from the ACLU, from the New Orleans Times-Picayune, from other organizations, and they're all available in here. And this entire database is keyword searchable, and in addition to being able to read the document online, with one click you can actually download the PDF document and have your own copy of it. So this is a great source to find primary documents from legal documents and reports and the like that are in the news. If if somebody is talking about a court filing, this might be a place that you can find it, again, often before it's actually reported on. Are there any map geeks in this room like myself? One organization that does a lot of digitization of maps is a little library not too far from here called the Library of Congress. Every month, this is a great discovery tool, a great collection development tool. Every month, linked on this page, and I highlight this on infoDOCKET as well, they put out a report. In this case, the February report, the February roundup is up. It's called New Maps This Month. And this is a 33-page document. Some months it's 28 pages, some months it's 40 pages, with direct links to every map they've digitized and made available in the past month, not only with links to it, but with all of the metadata available as well. So for those of you who are interested in maps, who collect maps, who share maps, this is a great resource for recently digitized maps in the work being done by the Library of Congress. And then, of course, this has become a favorite at this conference and other conferences. I can show this every year with the understanding that the technology is getting better as well. So this is, I'm not going to open it up. I think you can get the idea. This is called PhotoMath. This is, again, an AI tool, in this case using optical character recognition. This allows you to point your iPhone or your Android device, your iPad, your Galaxy tablet, at any algebra equation or mathematics problem, and it solves it on the fly by just pointing at the screen, at the written equation, or something that's published in a book or in a magazine. So this is, again, another AI tool that allows you to get math and algebra answers on the fly. You don't even have to be online. And from the first time I showed this 5 years ago till now, the technology is much improved. And for those of you who are interested, it does show the work. It does show the steps to solve the equation. So again, this is cool. It's another example, as I've said in other sessions, of the camera and of the iPhone, of the mobile device becoming more than just a communications tool. This is an actually answer tool. And I highly recommend it. The technology, again, is constantly improving about how it reads what it has in front of you. Even, I showed yesterday, even with my awful handwriting, it was able to determine the answer. I also want to point out this report to you. This is a report that came out last fall, October 16th, from an organization called Project Information Literacy based at the University of Washington. And one of the, I have a link to the full text report for you. This is a report of undergraduates and their opinion and how they research and take in news. And one of the key findings here is that students, and I think everybody, but in this particular case, students, when they read the news, they want context. And again, that's something that the library and the librarian can be doing. So in addition to an article that the student might be finding in the database, or your colleague finds in an online research tool and on Google, it might be an article from a very reputable news source, but one thing many news sources don't do is actually provide a direct link to the primary document, to the report being cited. And for those of us who have been doing this for a while, it used to be very difficult, if not in some cases impossible, to get your hands on these types of reports. Now you can have them the second that they're published, and you can, in addition to the person reading the news, you can actually provide to them the underlying document and allow them to learn more. Because no matter how long the news report might be, there is material, whether in addition to narrative, there are charts and graphs and explainer graphics, and in some cases videos that might be available in the report that are not going to be in the article that that person reads online. So this is a report. I encourage all of you to take a look at it, called How Students Engage with the News, and as I said, it was published last fall. Do we have any school librarians in here or any people who don't have access to JSTOR through regular means? So I want to point out that JSTOR now has a program called Read Online for Free. This allows you to access, with a free account, allows you to access 80% of the content stored on JSTOR. And you could read up to 6 articles per month for free. And if you want more, you can now get an individual subscription for $19.50 a month. I'm going to skip down to something here. And I want to mention this to you. I mentioned this yesterday, but didn't actually show it. If there was one tool out there to help you know things before other people, and there's a big change with this tool this year, I would highly recommend taking a look, and this is one of the few fee-based resources I have to mention today, called Website Watcher. This is a tool that allows you to go to any website at any level and allows you, and I'll show it here in a minute, allows you to check what on the page has changed since the last time you ran it. This is basically your own private crawler and allows you to learn what might not have been on the page at noon when you checked is now on the page at 3 o'clock, and now you know there's a new link, there's something new on the site. One thing that has changed, and it's pretty major that has changed from last year to this year, is that this service now, in a more basic form, but still plenty powerful, is available as a mobile app. So now you can have Website Watcher, and the basic version of Website Watcher that you can download is completely free. So you can get an idea. You could put a URL in there for an organization you might be tracking or on a profile page of somebody. You can run it at any time on your device, and it will tell you what on the page has changed. So let me fire it up here. This is what Website Watcher looks like. As I said, it can be any URL of any website. If it's a paywalled website, it will even log in for you and check. With the version available for a laptop or a desktop, you can even set it up on a timer. But I can just fire it up here, and it will check through all of these URLs in a matter of seconds, if not minutes, depending on how many I have in here. I can organize them into folders. I've even just figured out that you could have this running on your desktop or on your laptop, and you could have it running once every hour, and it will actually send you what it has found that has changed as an email attachment as it discovers something new. So if you're wondering, and this has been the question people have asked me forever, how do I know about something before others without having to sit there and reload the page? Website Watcher is the tool. So just to give you an idea, let's see if I can give you an idea. So not only will it hit, when it gets a hit, it signifies, you can actually change the color, but it will tell you in red that it discovered something new since the last time you clicked on it. And now it will actually then highlight for you what has changed on the page since the last time you ran it. So this is valuable not only to discover new links, but if you're doing profiling of people or a company, you could have this set up on a page of executive biographies, for example, and if they just remove one sentence from the person's bio, this will catch it for you. The other thing that you will learn over time is that things are often put up on the web early or by mistake, and this tool will discover them for you. There's even an add-on that will allow you to go in there, that will actually allow you to archive every version of the page as it's changed over time. Laura isn't here this year, I don't think, Laura Gordon-Murnane, but Laura is a librarian over at Bloomberg B&A, and I shared this with her years ago. She now, for probably 7 or 8 years, has convinced Bloomberg to give every Bloomberg journalist access to this tool. They have an enterprise license for this, and she has given examples to me personally and at this conference of how journalists can discover things early and end up calling the organization that releases something, and the person at the other end will say, "How do you know this already?" So if there is one tool to find new resources and often find them before other people, to add to your collections, to share in an email with a colleague, I highly recommend this. And now that the mobile version is available, it's even easier to get an idea of how it actually works for no money, actually. Another tool that I highly recommend using is called Zotero. Is anybody here using this? A few people. I highly recommend this one. This has become my go-to where I save everything. Because trying to get something back to something that I might have seen one week and try to find it again another week is often challenging. My memory is going as I'm getting older. So Zotero allows me to save any web page, any website, any really file type. When I press one little button on my browser, for example, this little button up here, hello, it will actually save a copy of the page permanently, make a snapshot of the page to Zotero. It will work, as I said, I use it primarily for web pages and PDFs. And now my entire collection, let's see here, my entire collection of what I've saved is available in one specific place. And everything that I save is keyword searchable. You can also go through it if it determines, if it can figure out what the metadata is for the page, it will add it automatically. If not, you can go in there, of course, and edit it, add your own tags to it. And now everything that I've saved, I've created my own personal database of documents and web pages and the like that are important to me. You can organize things into folders. You can even set up pre-built searches. So anytime something mentions the word satellite, whether it be in a PDF, whether it be in the title, wherever, I now have all of those documents in one folder. Zotero comes from George Mason University, that's not that far from here in Fairfax, Virginia. It's constantly updated with new features and making the core software better. Highly recommended. And again, the cost is zero. Any comments or questions as we go? Please raise your hand. Yes?
So for Website Watcher, those traction is not on Facebook.
It does now. Website Watcher works very well with Twitter now. With Facebook, there's a few issues. However, the good thing, and Laura's pointed this out too several times, is that the gentleman it's a sole proprietor developer who codes Website Watcher, and he's very receptive. They have an active community. You can contact him, and if there's a problem, he can actually start taking a look into it. Any other questions? There was, yes? Is Zotero secure? Yes. Now, that's a good question, actually. Zotero allows you to save things on your local computer. And also, if you want extra storage, if you want to make things available to other people, you can actually buy space on a cloud server from them. Yes. In terms of the overall security, I think it's probably as good, if not better, than other online services out there, yes. Yeah,
Does Website Watcher, like if you're trying to scrape, say, government website that's constantly adding PDFs and sometimes removing PDFs, would it scrape and let you know that a new PDF is added?
if it discovers a new link to a PDF on the page, absolutely. That's how I use it quite a bit.
Would it save the PDF?
It won't do that for you automatically, but you have to go in there and do it. The other thing that it can do, you have to be very careful with this. You can actually say, go to Bureau of Transportation Statistics, bts.gov, and then look at every page 3 levels down. Problem with that is you start getting massive amounts of pages, but it can do that for you as well. You can also even say, only signify a change to me in red if these words are on the web page.
And if it's a list that's like, say, 50 pages long, would you have to set it up for each of the 50 pages?
If it's one scrollable page,
If not scrollable, like you have to go page to page to page.
well, there's a place where you could use that, go 2 levels down just at this URL.
Okay.
But otherwise, yes, you would have to save it that many times.
Thank you.
Sure. Yes.
So when you save the website and if you do something and if the site is broken,
Then it's broken.
then
But
no alert.
I'm sorry?
Then no alert from the software.
Right. Yeah. We can talk about. Ask me your question one more time. I'm sorry, Josh. Can you? I can't. It's hard to hear. No.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, is there an alert when the link is broken? No, but remember Zotero, when you're saving a PDF to Zotero, it is making a local copy for you. So there's no way that you'll have a copy of that document or of that web page. So if that entire company or the entire organization went offline, you still have a permanent copy of that web page. Sure. One other organization that you might want to know about, they formally launched a couple of weeks ago, is called Preserve This Podcast. This is a Mellon-funded project out of the Metro organization in New York City. It is working to preserve podcasts from individual podcast producers. They also just released, they're doing sessions, they'll be doing a session here at ALA in the summer. They also just released a zine and a workbook to try to explain the importance of podcast preservation to people who aren't thinking about that topic. Another organization that's doing great work is the American Archive of Public Broadcasting. This is based at the Library of Congress, and over the last couple of years, they are making more and more digitized streamable video online from public broadcast organizations nationally. In addition to that, in some cases, they are providing content that never aired. They're providing it here in the archive. A major collection that now is, I believe, complete this is a collection of every PBS NewsHour back to 1975, every segment of every PBS NewsHour. In many cases, you can stream it online. In some cases, the text transcript is also available. This is just one of the thousands of different collections available. They have a lot more metadata than they actually have streaming content, but more and more streaming content is coming online, and this is national in scope. So this has become a really powerful research tool with material that not that long ago, really until this became available, was very difficult to get your hands on easily, if at all. This is a tool that I use quite a bit, and not only is it useful to try to save yourself a couple of dollars, but for those of you who are doing business research, there's a company out there you might have heard of called Amazon, and they sell just about everything. So you can actually set this up to tell you that if the Keurig coffee brewer that you're interested in goes down by this many dollars or this percentage, send me an email or send me an RSS alert to let me know I can save $10 on it today. The other reason I'm showing this to you is because since Amazon sells everything and they are a major retailer out there today, both their own services and via third parties, every product that Amazon sells, there is historical pricing information for it in the site called, and don't ask me why it's called this, Camel, Camel, Camel. But as you can see, in this case of this Keurig coffee maker, you can see how the price has gone. Right now, it's $294.98 approximately, right? $279. It was, yeah, $279. It was recently $294, and it was as little as last June. It was about $90. So again, this is a place for those doing business research or retail research, if you like, a place to find historical pricing information, not only for Amazon. So the green up here is Amazon pricing. The blue is third-party new pricing. The red is third-party used pricing. So if you think about the millions and millions of products that Amazon sells, this is a free resource to get pricing information in a historical manner. For news search tools, this is called GDELT. Now, GDELT, in terms of the actual service itself, you'd need to do some coding. But GDELT Summary allows you to do a news search engine with thousands of sources in many different languages, just not English. You can, for example, here, you can limit by country, you can limit by tone of the article, you can limit by images, all of that. This is done by Google. I believe now it's Google funded, and it's done by a developer here in the DC area. This project started at the University of Illinois. So you can do a keyword search. I find, again, doing what I do, I find news articles in here that I don't find anywhere else. In addition to news, text news, you can now search the Internet Archive, the Wayback Machine people also have an archive of video news. And all of those news sources, as you can see here, so it's CNN, it's Bloomberg, it's CNBC, all of these news searches, they are creating text transcripts for it. Sometimes, using closed captioning, so sometimes it's far from perfect, but it's better than not having it at all in most cases. And again, you can actually do keyword searchings now of the news and then click and actually watch the news. You can visualize news coverage, for example. I'll just put in White House. And we're searching now the TV Explorer. We can see how the volume of stories over time. We can compare how it was mentioned in networks. We can get a word cloud. We can actually then see the top clips and then click and view the clips. 30 seconds at a time. That's one of the drawbacks to the TV news archives. Because of copyright, you can only view a story 30 seconds at a time. So it does take, for a 3-minute story, you have to click many times. But again, it's a go-to source for that type of material, and it's completely free. I don't know of any other news database for video that's this large that's available at no charge. We talked about that. There's an organization here in Washington called the National Conference of State Legislatures. For those of you who might be doing research on any of these issues, and you can see for yourself, everything from ballot measures to campaign finance, they are tracking that legislation in all 50 states. All of these are individual databases that are available to all of us for free. So for example, here is the collective bargaining database, and you can actually search it for different topics and then get the results, how that legislation is moving on and what's going on with that legislation in all 50 states. As I said, everything I'm talking about is available today for free, and of course this is one of those. Another tool for those of you who, again, want to work on privacy or understand how the internet actually works, URL scan, see if we can do this here, infoDOCKET.com. We'll do a public scan. It's going to ask me to fill out one of those CAPTCHAs. No. Now it's going to run their crawler to infotoday.com, and it's going to tell me everything about the underlying website, from the technology being used to power the site, to how that data is flowing over the internet, to the data providers that are moving the data over the internet. So again, for those of you who are doing research on a company or the internet itself or on privacy, this is a very, very useful tool, and it links to everything else. So for example, we learned from here that the operating system that the InfoToday website is using is Windows Server. They're using DoubleClick for publishers. They have Google AdSense and Analytics attached to the page. When you go to infotoday.com, it's making 86 requests for data. 37 of them would be blocked by most ad blockers, including the one built in here. Only 45% of the calls from the website are using HTTPS. There are 9 domains involved, 14 subdomains, and so on and so forth. What you also learn from here, what it looks like is the Google website, the InfoToday website is being hosted, in this case, on a Google server. So again, it provides this massive amount of information about how the information is running over the internet and the technology is being used. And technically, this is the components of the InfoToday website is using 14 IP addresses in 2 countries across 9 domains and makes 86 HTTP requests. Yes, sir?
Do you know who owns URLscan.io?
I believe it's a gentleman, it's an individual in Europe. So this is all coming out of, so when you do a request, and you'll see this, it's actually coming from their server, obviously, in Europe. One thing you will also see is the power that Amazon Web Services has. In one sense or another, let me go actually into IP detail, can we see? Now this one is primarily Google, but in most cases, there's some Amazon transit of data of just about every website I seem to come across these days. Amazon moves massive amounts of data across the internet. And for that matter, you've heard of a company called Netflix? Netflix moves a lot of data when you think about the data involved in streaming a movie or a television program. Amazon's so powerful that they said, you know what? Even though we stream a lot of data, it's cheaper for us to use Amazon Web Services than it is to have our own data centers. So now, for the last couple of years, all of the Netflix you see are being streamed through Amazon servers. So really, it's in many sense, in terms of video at least, a competitor is using, their competitors are working together. So that is URL scan for anybody doing any type of basic understanding about how the internet or a website works. Take a look at that. This is another useful report for those of you who are want to learn, find organizations that might have information about what you're interested in. Of course, it's not opening because I'm trying to show it to you, but it's the Penn Think Tank report. They are rating think tanks globally on just about every topic you can think of. The report, here we go. The report comes out every January, and if you're trying to find the go-to think tank for whatever in Europe, this is a great directory to begin with. It's several hundred pages, and it's free. Skip around here. Let me scroll down. I also want to make note that one of those, this is another major change since last year, and something that those of us who have been doing this for a while have wanted for a long time. Last spring, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, Congressional Research Service reports are now officially available. Now, and in recent weeks, they're starting to add more types of CRS publications to what you'll see here. So this is the CRSreports.congress.gov. And you can see the latest reports. In addition to the long-form reports, they do breaking news types of things. They're all, more and more, those are being listed here. So, and again, if you're looking for high-quality research from a nonpartisan research organization, the value of these reports is just amazing. They often, very often, almost always, have solid bibliographies and footnotes to find more. So, for example, we just open up one of them. Just here, for example, is a topic that I could see being a report being of interest to a lot of people who work in the public library community. This is a 40-page report about the SBA and a primer on programs and funding. Let me also mention, in addition to constantly writing new reports about every issue you can imagine, they're also going back and updating older reports. And you can find often the archive reports, the most recent archive reports, also on CRSreports.congress. But as you can see, this is a 40-page report with everything, a wonderful primary source primer, if you like, on SBA funding. So if you haven't looked at what some of the reports that the CRS is doing, I couldn't recommend them enough. Is there anybody in here from CRS? They've been in here in the past. Anybody from LC here? Few people. Well, big fan of this particular. No Donna this time. Donna Sheeter, who is here at the conference, used to be the person in charge, or deputy director, or the person in charge, I think, at one point, of this incredible, globally respected research organization. For example, here is an entire report. It's 79 pages on data protection law, an overview. I mean, if you just go through this, these things are just wonderful. But CRS isn't the only legislative research organization out there. For whatever reason, whether the topic or you want a global perspective, there are other quality legislative research organizations out there, and I've given you a list of a few of them. In this case, every morning I get a list of these new reports. These are reports from the Parliament Research Library, the House of Commons Research Library in the UK. And again, now, while many of these are UK focused, they are also writing reports about global issues. But for example, if you're tracking Brexit, I mean, they've got report after report, just incredible bibliographies of everything you can imagine about Brexit. And here's a Brexit reading list. And let me turn off my phone. But here's the most recent edition. This is constantly being updated. Let's see how large it is these days. 66 pages of Brexit news and information citations with direct links to everything from an organization who knows what they're, well, who hopefully knows what they're talking about on this type of government issue in the UK. So again, we have the Congressional Research Service here, the House of Commons Library in the UK, I've also provided you with links to organizations, let me go back here, to the Canadian Parliament Library Research Service, and now in recent weeks, the Japanese, the National Diet Library, the National Library of Japan, also has a research service, and they are starting to make some of their reports available in English. How are we doing on time? 2 minutes, right? One question I get constantly is open access. And for those of you not in higher ed, this is absolutely the hottest of hot topics, and it continues to be. For those of you who don't know about these resources, I want to recommend taking a look. If you're looking for open access journals that have been reviewed, because we know we were talking now a lot about what's called predatory publishing in academic journals. These have been reviewed by an organization in Sweden that is taking a look at these journals and making judgments. But right now, there's over 12,000 journals in here. And in addition to using this as a directory for, well, this is the top level page of a journal, you can also use this as a searchable database for full text articles from open access journals. In this case, as of today, there is bibliographic information and direct links to 3.8 full text open access articles through this database. So think of it as another Google Scholar type of thing, and I'll leave it at that. There's also, which in addition to open access journals, there are open access full text books, and this is a similar type of service, the directory of open access books. And there is also an organization, again, if you can see that they're members, this is another level of quality that can help you make a judgment on the quality of a journal. And this is the Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association. You know, if they can stand up to what's needed to be for this organization, I'm going to take a closer look at them if I have any questions. There's plenty more for you to take a look at here. Days and days worth of things to look at. I love questions via email. Take a look at infoDOCKET, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you.